Yo, what's going on, guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Time for another 8-title record store haul. Got 6 vinyl albums to show you, 2 CDs. They span 1969 to 1983 and represent basically every different genre of rock that there is. Got some classic rock, some singer-songwriter stuff, hard rock, light rock. If you want to call it yacht rock, go right ahead. Just one of those. But one of many hauls I have yet to show you. It's all piling up in the back. Can you see down there? Not quite. That's a bag down there. But there's a bunch of stuff down there I haven't shown you yet. So one thing I'll be doing is researching this stuff. Yeah, it's fun having a little surprise factor on my part when I kind of forget what's in every one of these bags. They go back months. All right, but it's kind of boring for you guys to watch me squint and trying to read shit. So from now on, I'll be researching stuff ahead of time, give you a little info actually, along with the sort of unwrapping or whatever you want to call it. All right, the stuff's literally piling up in the corner. So I'm focusing on reviews right now, but I have to do some of these in the meantime too. All right, sprinkle a little unboxing. Let's welcome 8 more members to the family. Yeah, it's getting crowded in here. And actually, there's multiple reorganization projects going on in this house, all right, music-wise. First of all, I'm in the process of building a brand new 4-foot by 8-foot shelf. It'll be almost the size of the one that's behind me there. Just bought the wood a couple days ago. Today it gets cut and painted, all right, so hopefully that goes up next week. You won't be seeing it on screen. It'll be across the room to my left, but man, I need that thing bad. I've got so much shit all over this house. It's getting out of hand. All right. Also, I've been going through my vinyl. Something I've been meaning to do for a year or two anyway. I remember pulling out my Steve Miller anthology album. I pulled the album out of the sleeve, and the sleeve is just deteriorating. Must be an original 73 album. There were little paper specks all over the vinyl. So it's been in the back of my head for a couple years. And finally, I guess all this vinyl I'm buying lately had motivated me to finally clean and re-sleeve, inner sleeve, outer sleeve, every album. I'm going through the entire collection, and it is time consuming, but it's really kind of fun listening a little bit of stuff on the way. Cool seeing the facelift effect that cleaning them up and new sleeves gives the album. So anyway, I also bought these 2 wall-mounted album holders. They're kind of cool. They hold 20 to 25 albums each, and helps offload my very crowded album cube / bookshelf. They're all my wife's albums actually in there, so I got her shit out of my shit, which is kind of cool. I like most of what she likes anyway, though. But one way to help organize things is just to get her 50 or so albums off the main shelf. So, all right, so why is that shelf overflowing? All right, because of purchases like this that I've been doing pretty constantly all year long. All right, record store runs like this. Now I'm glad I saved the receipts because I keep them right in the bag with all the stuff. So this haul would be from April 26th, and it ran me $36. So let's start out with we'll go chronological order as usual. 8 titles. So first one's actually a CD. It's The Band. I always thought this was their first album, self-titled, not their debut though. This is their second album from 1969. The first album is actually behind me there, Music from Big Pink. All right, the original Capitol 1987 CD. So an old school first press disc, kind of nice. It has I think 2 of their biggest hits on there for sure. And The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down and Up on Cripple Creek. I noticed several other sort of concert staples and songs that ended up on sort of compilations. But I'm really interested in there's 12 songs altogether, so I'm really interested in the other 8 songs that are new to me, at least by the title anyway. So that should be cool. Next up, 1970, Cat Stevens. Now, I admit, I'm really unfamiliar with this, all right? Mona Bone Jacone, all right? I recognize nothing by the title as far as the songs go. So looking up some info on this one, just basic Wikipedia search describes Cat as having a somewhat bubblegum or pop music career before this, and then disappearing for a year or two and re-emerging onto the scene as the sort of artist that we know him as now. Okay, completely different style. And with this album, it sort of came out of maybe just changed his style or decided to stop doing accessible stuff, more singer-songwriter oriented stuff, okay? So this is truly in gorgeous condition. And let's just check it out a little bit. A&M Records, and this is a first press, goes back to 70. Still in the shrink, as you can see, which is always cool. But I just, you know, man, I gotta tell you, all this recent resurgence in vinyl, it really has me interested in these center labels. Some of them are just so cool, man, all right? And we'll look at one more along the way here today, but I just wanted to, you know, it's pretty simple. It's just classic, basic font, you know, coolness there. Looking forward to that one. Like I said, I've never heard anything from it, so that'll be a cool one. All right, on to the third album. This would be Stephen Stills' second album, or Stephen Stills 2, another one in fantastic shape. Now, researching this one was a pretty interesting sort of revelation. All right, 1971 Atlantic Records on this guy. And again, a lot of stuff I didn't know, all right, was going on. Stills became a very prolific songwriter in this period. All right, not that he already wasn't, but it really picked up some steam in 71 to 73. The breakup of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, all kinds of drama. Was arrested on drug possession, overdosed on pills, had, I guess, sort of love triangle situation going on that he lost, and that was, he was dating Rita Coolidge, singer Rita Coolidge, and she ended up going with former bandmate Graham Nash. So Stephen Stills just poured it all out in song. Recording for this second album started only 1 month after he released his first solo album, all right? So he went on to write and record a double album with Manassas in 71, 72, another album with Manassas late 72, I think, into 73. Backing up a bit, it was Atlantic Records president, I believe, Ahmet Ertegun, who suggested Stills leave the drama behind in LA and head to Miami to record this one. And also, Stills a little fond with the whole Chicago and Blood, Sweat, and Tears sound happening at the time, and incorporated the Memphis horns into this record. He brought them on tour kind of a little controversially as far as the fans were concerned, having horns involved, but also Dallas Taylor, Fuzzy Samuels, who would also be the bassist and with Manassas, also Joe Lala, percussionist. They were also brought on tour and on this record. The album gets sort of mixed reviews, all right? Self-indulgent lyrics being one of the main things, but you know, I don't know, I'll have to just give it a listen, but it sounds like the guy went through a lot in a short period of time. Probably entitled to be a little self-indulgent, I would think. So Jerry Garcia, guitar on one song, Clapton on another. Sounds like a pretty all-star stellar lineup of musicians, which no surprise there with the CSNY guys. Change Partners is on here. That would be the biggest song, most likely. Know You Gotta Run, something that CSN used to do. So its own spin here, I'm going to assume. And Buffalo Springfield's Bluebird Revisited is also on here. So two reworkings, if you want to call them that. So I'm looking forward to this one, Stephen Stills 2, all right, from 1971. On to 1974, the final album by the Amboy Dukes. At this point, they're called Ted Nugent's Amboy Dukes. Tooth, Fang, and Claw. This was a cool find. And I think he charged me $14 for this. But you know what? I'm not complaining. It's about what it goes for. Maybe even a little less out on the open market. But he's so fair with so many other prices. How can I complain? Ted went solo after this. You can see he's all over this. Band is now sort of his. Got the front and back photos. In a nutshell, and again, this is only what I've read about this band. I don't own any Amboy Dukes music. Mixed reviews related to the fact that we're pretty far from the original blues and sort of experimental side of the Amboy Dukes that they originally were. And now we're basically a Ted Nugent sound, okay? And of course, solo the following year. And it's also sort of less bluesy, more straight ahead rock is what I'm reading. I haven't heard it yet, all right? Guys, I got to mention another killer center label on this one. When I looked at this in the store, this is just cool. I don't know, some of these labels are just cool. That's all I got to say. And this one you can see right through the record. I don't even need to pull it out. But Discreet Records. Man, is that just screen early 70s, mid 70s, or what. I just love that. Like some kind of superhero moniker or something on there. But we got The Great White Buffalo is on here. So something that Ted would go on to continue playing as a solo artist. So haven't heard any of these yet, all right? So that should be a cool one. Now on to 1978. I have a couple of releases from that year. Now after not really digging very much the best of Al Stewart, which I bought in the late 80s or 1990, kind of loved Year of the Cat, the regular album last year. One of my favorites of the year. All right, so here's the next one after that. Time Passages by Al Stewart, 1978. Again, Alan Parsons at the production helm. You know it's going to sound killer. The title track went to number 7. It was number 1 on the adult contemporary charts. Arista Records, it eventually went platinum. One or two of these songs, besides the title track, were also on that Best of Al Stewart. That album just didn't work for me. I don't know how many times I played it. I was just like, man, I don't dig this album. But I love Year of the Cat, so I'm hoping this the same way with Time Passages, that a full-length regular album will work with me better than that compilation did. All right, so a couple of albums from the Kinks. For the most part, when I hear the handful of Kinks albums I've heard over the years, Come Dancing, the Best of the Kinks, all right, who doesn't know that one? I either love the song or I don't care for it much, all right? So, and I just happened to listen to that Come Dancing, Best of the Kinks, 77-86, I think is the full title on that. And again, I think hits and misses on that thing. But I played the whole thing. I was on a drive. I was actually headed to Home Depot for the wood for that shelf a couple days ago. And what was crazy was I get inside Home Depot and a couple songs in, I'm in there for 5-10 minutes, they play better things by the Kinks. That's just nuts. What's the chances? But hopefully once again, I'll enjoy some regular studio albums more than, let's say, that compilation. All right, so moving on to the Kinks record that I picked up. It's Misfits from 78. Got the corner cut up there, but man, otherwise this thing is just gorgeous. All right, so corner cut or not, for $2, I'm scooping up Misfits. I don't know how great this album is generally regarded. I don't think it's superb. They were coming off of 1977's Sleepwalker, which was sort of a big hit for them, and sort of they got back on the charts with that after a bunch of sort of theme albums. More straight ahead rock was the whole point of Sleepwalker, and it continues with Misfits, although I don't know if Misfits was as successful. Also a tumultuous time for the band, generally speaking. I think they changed either the bassist or drummer for this album, and the other guy was going to go right after this one as far as the rhythm section. Rock and Roll Fantasy would be your hit off of this one. It went to number 30 on the US charts. Who doesn't know that song? That's killer. Love that one. All right, so check out Misfits, 1978. Bunch of 78 albums. On to another Kinks title. This one is CD. And I do have it on vinyl back there. I got it on vinyl reasonably a few years ago. And here's the CD version, and it's expanded, so why the hell not? It's low budget from 1979. $6 for this very cool updated version. As I mentioned, it's 1999 Conch Records. Never heard of Conch Records. I'm going to assume with the 2 Ks it's a Kinks related label in some way, or the Davies run it. Who knows? I don't even know. But here's your inner workings there. The CD itself. Picture of Ray Davies behind the disc. Really thick booklet there. It must be in the 15 to 20 page lengthwise, that booklet that's in there. And we get 3 bonus tracks on the end of this guy. You had the title track, Superman, Wish I Could Fly Like Superman, and Catch Me Now I'm Falling. 3 big radio hits off of this one. I love all those songs, so I'm good with this as far as picking it up on CD also. The album failed to chart in their home country of England, and that's just nuts to me. Got to number 11 in the United States. There were actually 5 singles altogether, and the extended mixes of Catch Me Now I'm Falling, Superman, and A Gallon of Gas, okay, are the bonus tracks that are on this CD. So really looking forward to this. I've only spun that album a couple times, and I kind of remember not thinking it was all that great, but I really didn't remember that it had Superman and Catch Me Now I'm Falling on it either. I just remembered the title track. It's been years. So this will be a nice revisit. $6 for that CD. Why the hell not? And lastly, the second album by Christopher Cross, 1983's Another Page. I think this is a Warner Brothers, if I remember right. I just picked this up on CD about a year ago at the same store. One of those 82, I think it was, dollar CDs, which I listened to like half of it. I didn't even finish it. And this was $4 for the vinyl. It's just so clean and all that it's just like, why the hell not? You know, it's going to sound better than a disc 99 times out of 100. So what the hell? You know, there's no way Christopher Cross was going to repeat the success of the first album, which is right there. 5 Grammy Awards, 5 times platinum, multiple smash hits on that thing. In that sense, it was kind of destined to fail. Another Page here. But if you think Cross is a soft rock guy at heart, you really need to guess again. He filled in for Ritchie Blackmore at their very first United States show in 1970. I'm not shitting you. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know that. Pretty curious little nugget there. But San Antonio, 1970. Ritchie Blackmore fell ill, and Christopher Cross, local guitarist, I don't know if he was on the opening band, I think so. And anyway, his manager got him the gig, playing with Deep Purple, and using a flying V, no less. How crazy is that? By the way, to maybe undo some of your yacht rock thoughts about Christopher Cross, he wrote the lyrics to Ride Like the Wind, big hit from the debut. He wrote those lyrics on acid driving through Texas. So this guy's a rocker at heart, who I guess just found a little niche there at the end of the 70s. So not quite the yacht rock image, as far as me anyway, playing a flying V in Deep Purple and doing drugs, But anyway, that's Christopher Cross's sort of history. Managed a few more hits with this album. Didn't do nearly as well. I think it might have eventually went platinum, probably based on his name. But you still had Think of Laura. That was a big soft rock hit, as was, what's the one after it? All Right. That would be another sort of popular one off of this record. And he also had, right around the same time as this album, did the theme to Arthur, Best That You Can Do, I think. So that wasn't on this album. I think it would be a bonus track on later editions of the CD. But so he was still writing some hits, just he wasn't knocking everything out of the park. That whole first album is pretty much great. So anyway, guys, that'll do it. Nice little $36, $38 haul. Bootleg review will be next. I'm going to be alternating between either box set or bootleg reviews and these unboxings as the stuff just piles up in the damn corner of this room. I might as well pull them on up here, show them to you guys, and remind myself what I have sitting back there at the same time. By the way, we're still doing the whiskey and Jack and Coke, all right? And it's going down great, I gotta tell you. All right, guys, I'll catch you all later. Bring on summer, man. It's been raining here for 5 straight days. What the hell's going on? All right, do one of these on the beach like I did last year, as soon as it's not soggy down there. Guys, catch you all later. Hope you're all doing well. You know who you are. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch us.